what are the practical sort of things you can try? And I do emphasise try, experiment with, iterate. So you don't need to talk through every single one of your hows, but it'd be good to hear a few of the thoughts that you were sharing. So it'd be good to have a spokesperson or two from each group, just to talk us through, maybe just a few of the key ones. Maybe we'll start with you guys. And that was over here, right? So, can you remember what you wrote? You didn't mean to read it.
In terms of this community of practice, that they set up a group of people, not in the same department, but like-minded jobs across the organisation. And so it could be classed as peer support too. But they got together to share ideas, initially informally, and peer support, but then it just grew and grew, got its own legs, and it got so positive they actually create almost terms of reference for their meeting and how they so to actually restrict it and contain it, I think, so it's just grown legs. So.
That really worked, hey? What do you reckon helped it work?
Well, we had some sort of champions of each of the functional areas that took it on board to start the conversations with their peers, and it was that sort of championship that gave it a bit more legs.
Having champions, right? Yeah. So get some real true believers, you could say, in there as the seeds.
Rather than sharing successes that are out of reach of most people, share successes that are within reach of all people.
Brilliant. And well said. Within reach of all people, right? Capture that soundbite. There's something really powerful about the story that everyone can relate to, as opposed to the story of the hero, right? And I think if you can meet people with that, with stories that they can see themselves being in, as opposed to, I could never do that. They're special, you know, that sort of stuff. That's what you're talking about, right? The everyday hero, if you like.
So one of our what's was embracing failure. So as a how, and this was something that my boss does, is sharing your failures and challenges with the team and how you overcome them. So he sends out a weekly to the whole directorate, you know, this is what you need to know about, and then he will share a story of a stuff up or something that went wrong for him. Yeah. And then he'll say, this is how I overcame it, or this was, what my thinking was. But it just made it okay for the rest of the team to fail or make a mistake as well, and see it as a learning opportunity. So it's just role modelling essentially regularly, that embracing of failing as a learning opportunity.
And what is the language? Is it failure? Is it stuff up? What is the
Sometimes it's a failure, sometimes it was a mistake, sometimes it's a faux pas, sometimes it's foot and mouth. Whatever it is, it's that, showing that as a leader he's not perfect and that he's a work in progress. Brilliant. And reflecting that regularly and that kind of development focus instead of, I'm the untouchable wing commander here and you guys are just, need to aim to be me. So it's making it more human.
And just a twist on that, I wrote a blog about a month ago called This Is Hard. And if you subscribe to the newsletter, you might remember it. It's about, I play guitar, and I was watching a fellow teaching, that Fleetwood Mac song, Never Going Back Again? It's finger picking, and it's a beautiful piece of music. It's quite technically challenging, and I'm following along. And he's really good at it, right? And then at the end of the video he goes, and this is the part I find really hard. And I thought, and it really got me. I thought, man, here's this guru who can play this song saying this is hard. And that really shifted my respect for the guy, just to be able to say, look, it's actually not that easy for me even. So, go easy on yourself sort of thing, right? That humanity that came through in that little thing was really, really powerful. So I wrote this blog saying leaders need to share about what's hard for them. Not necessarily even what they failed at, but what they're struggling with, what's the challenge. And I think that brings that humanity into the conversation. Yeah? Want to have a quick conversation about this idea. This one here is this concept that you are responsible for 50% of every relationship you're in. All right, comes from a lady called Susan Scott, no relation. She wrote a great book called Fierce Conversations, another one called Fierce Leadership. It's about being real in conversations. And she said, you're responsible for 50% of every relationship you're in. If you want to change the relationship, which part is easier to change? Which part? So that's you and that's them. Which one? You, yeah. So this whole bigger me thing is about changing you, because it starts with you, right? And that's them. However, because you're in a relationship and you're going to be doing some of this coaching stuff with people, they're going to need to be in that relationship with you. So as you're changing, there's a risk that what happens? You kind of come in and start asking all these questions. What might they do? Freak out. Yeah. Like, what? Huh? You've troubleshooted me my whole career and now you're actually starting getting me to think for myself? What? And seriously, that's what happens a lot of the time, right? I've been conditioned just to say, I'll do what you tell me to do, boss. All right. And suddenly you're getting me to think for myself. Huh. You need to renegotiate the game. Right? Renegotiate the psychological contract. What did you call it? There was a the psychological contract. So we've alluded to this today, and I just thought we'd just have a brief conversation now about how might you go about doing that. Like, if they're used to you being a certain way, you're actually going, actually, there's a more enlightened way to be. Well, firstly, let me ask you, we've talked a lot about your role. What is their role in this sort of coaching relationship? What's their role and responsibility? Yep, so to be open to it. Open to trying new things, being a little bit vulnerable.
No longer a passive receiver of advice, they're doing stuff.
They've got to be willing to try stuff. Participate, show up. Yep, what else is it? Think a bit more for themselves. So that's quite granular, that's quite specific, right? For yourself. I'm going to do enabling on you rather than troubleshooting. That means you're going to have to change how you are in this thing. Think for yourself. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And not just for your actions, but also for your results. It's kind of not, well, I didn't do that, that was someone else's fault, whatever. Yeah, cool. You've got the idea. So I reckon there's a conversation to have about that. Yeah. How might you do that? And how have you done it in the past? What works for you? Because I think this is an important conversation for you to have at some point and ongoing. How do you do that? Often, Bruce Burrows is a GM over at Immigration. He used to get so much new stuff happening in his part of his organisation because he used to just say, hey guys, we're just going to experiment with this. We're going to try this process. If it doesn't work, we'll chuck it out. Or we'll just pilot this for a while and see what happens, right? And then it just made it so much easier for people to be receptive about it. You know? Another tool could be this, just to say, hey, look, I've been doing this stuff. I reckon there's a lot of value. Actually having something visual like this, I want to try and play up here, which means that I'm going to ask you a few more questions. And this might feel a bit weird for you, but I reckon, again, there's payoff for you there. So actually having a visual tool like that to be able to show them and to say, or even sometimes as you're a bit further down the track, where do you need me to be with you here? I mean, this assumes that they'll understand what's in here, right? But that question, where do you need me to be here right now? That's a really good way to strengthen their role in this because they take ownership. Okay, I need you to be, actually, enabler actually would be quite good. I wouldn't mind thinking for myself a bit here. Yeah? But if you're starting from a low base, some of these other ideas are really, really good. Yeah. So just give some thought for yourself about how you might have the conversations because I think to come in and just, I don't know, do something without actually, and trying to be kind of covert about it, I think probably doesn't work, right? Kind of try and be as explicit as you can about this.